Hello and welcome to Focus IR. I am John Hewman and I am very pleased to be joined once again by Dr. Vincent Chian, who's now the COO of Fairview International PLC. How are you doing, Vincent?
Hi, John. Doing very well.
Good to see you again. We're going to talk today about some very interesting goings on in the broader private and international schools market, which you've brought to our attention. Really fascinating stuff. Not least news that one of the biggest private school owners in the UK, Cognita, is planning a sale or listing. Perhaps talk us through what's going on and how it reflects what's going on in the broader international schools market.
Yeah. Look, the investor focus is and interest in our sector is pretty obvious. It highlights our sector's attractiveness. But frankly, for us, the real concern is pure corporatization, chasing profits for the sake of profit making. It risks the maintenance of things like educational integrity. We stand for something quite different. We champion democratization through accessible excellence. Our model is built on substance. I mean, think of the way that we do our teacher training program via University College Fairview, which guarantees a sustainable quality. And that allows us to genuinely prepare students thoroughly for life, not just focus purely on the bottom line or, say, expansion for its own sake or sale.
No, it's very interesting because obviously there is a lot of sort of private equity behind the scenes of these very large companies, and as you allude to, they're very well known for chasing profits, and a lot of the schools that they own are what you would sort of call the elite and therefore very expensive schools, and you're very different to that. So perhaps sort of highlight the difference between the kind of schools that are involved in this very, very significant corporate activity and what you're doing.
Yeah. I mean, I think that different sectors of the market are going to appeal to different target clients. There's a group of people that are going to say, I'm willing to pay whatever is necessary to get the absolute best in the world. And absolutely great. There's a sector that serves that section of the market, but that's not our section of the market because we choose to provide quality education for every child. That's our mission. So we've chosen a different sector of the market that's to provide good quality education accessibly. And yeah, good on them for, getting such great valuations. But that's just not the way that we're going to be working here.
I mean, let's talk about valuations because, regardless of the difference between what you're doing and what these very large private equity backed groups are doing, it does point to the fact that there is incredible value to be had in companies like yours. There's a lot of read across here in the sense of valuation.
Yeah, I think considering that valuations are increasing, I also want to comment that recession's coming, but education's inherently resilient. Like people are still going to always need to go to go to international schools. There's always going to be that need, and while market valuations will always fluctuate, our strength isn't just suggested, it's demonstrated, and it's strong and consistent. Like, look at our consistent growth, our consistent top rankings, and our consistent results. And our consistent focus on, what we want to do, which is prepare kids for life, not exams. This is all achieved by a consistent model driven by substance. And it shows that, we're going to be resilient and attractive to families year after year. Regardless of how the market goes up and down.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, one of the things that these big groups have, to their advantage, is that they are very, very broadly diversified internationally. You're a little bit more focused on Malaysia, and obviously you have a presence in the UK as well. How do you position yourself? In the sense of the global market. What's your plans? Given what's going on in terms of corporate activity.
Well, our differentiation, if you want to call it that, really it rests truly on what matters for schools. Other people can differentiate themselves by saying, we are great deep pockets and we've got this great global footprint. That's fantastic. But we focus on what should matter, we believe should matter for schools. And it's around three core promises. We deliver great results. We place students in the best universities out there. We prepare children for life, not just exams. And finally, we do this with accessible excellence driven by substance, not show. And that third part is critically enabled by our teacher training program. By focusing on what matters to the people that we serve, we believe that's going to determine our long-term relevance and competitive strength.
One thing that you are able to do is offer, similarly high quality education as these luxury private schools that we perhaps have alluded to earlier, but at a much lower cost. What's the secret behind that?
Thanks, John. That's a really good question. That's really what right at the core of how we believe education should be. Well, first of all, we grow our talent. Now, talent is probably the most important thing in any service sector. And being an education industry, our talent is probably our biggest asset that we have. A lot of people hire in talent, going through recruitment shows and doing lots and lots of interviews. But as you know from interviewing, I mean, anybody who's ever done an interview knows that the chances are, even though you're a really, really good interviewer, of getting a great person through an interview is a bit of hit and miss, because interviewees are naturally incentivized, well, to embellish the truth a little bit. So, first of all, the interview strategy and the sort of parachuting in talent strategy is not a great strategy for talent management or talent growth in any organization. We've chosen to grow our talent. So we created a pipeline of talent, training teachers right at the base, straight out of university, building them up in that University College Fairview, where, of course, we prepare our teachers with postgraduate diplomas and masters, all aligned to that sort of IB high standard. And because we are training teachers up and building it, we are able to have a better consistency of talent, a lower cost of talent as well, and a higher quality of talent because of our pipeline structure. And the second reason why we can afford to ensure our fees are so competitive is by staying really focused on substance, not show. A lot of schools invest a lot of extra dollars into a fancier football field or a bigger building or a pretty device, but a lot of it's wasted because, well, frankly, a lot of it's marketing show investment rather than what you need to invest in, which is great classroom experiences, good quality teaching. That really moves the needle.
And the other aspect, which I think I spoke to Michael Chian about recently, is tech, and how you integrate tech to enable the delivery of your programs, your IB programs. So can you talk through a little bit about that?
Absolutely. No, we look at technology as what supports the education process. Technology can't drive the education process. Good quality teaching and learning drives the education process rather than technology. But technology is able to amplify and multiply the effort of our educators. And to that effect, we have our own our own home-built LMS that is specifically designed for the IB program that we use to really amplify the effects of all of our teachers, be it the way that they teach, the hours spent in lesson planning and preparation, collaboration, reducing time in marking, and so on and so forth. And we're about to introduce a very exciting AI development into our module, which I can't actually release just as yet.
No, absolutely fascinating stuff, and as you say, really sort of underpins the delivery of the high quality education that you offer. Hey, one last question. Obviously with all this activity, it's quite interesting, shines a bit of a spotlight on the private education sector, as does the goings on in the UK around the introduction of VAT. We won't talk specifically about that and speculate on that, but where does this kind of leave you in terms of your own expansion plans? I know they're quite ambitious.
Policy shifts in the UK could absolutely increase demand for models like ours. We excel at delivering results and preparing students through an accessible excellence approach. Now, in the UK, market increasingly seeks high quality, value driven alternatives, then yes, our proven IB expertise and efficient model present an excellent opportunity for any school that is looking to buffer itself against the increasing financial demands that have been laid on by the taxes, the 20% tax, I believe, that has been laid on in the UK.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you say, a great model that could really support the sector at a time when it needs it the most. And you're in pole position to capitalise and continue to grow. Vincent, pleasure speaking to you as usual.